This is the EVP Podcast.
Yes, that is correct. You are listening to the EVP Podcast. We are your hosts. I'm Ghosty.
I'm Beaker.
I'm D to the V to the O.
And we just did that intro perfectly.
Yes.
Thanks.
Flawless victory.
Thanks for joining me on this, everybody. So anyways.
After 3 attempts, we got it.
We got this. Anyways, today's episode, we are talking about sleep paralysis.
Yes, sir.
On the episode, what is this, 13? 14.
We've done 14 episodes.
Nice.
We're rocking and rolling.
The energy, visions, and the paranormal.
Yes. We've got at least 14 more in us, too.
At least 14 more.
We're halfway done, guys.
Anyway, sleep paralysis. That is the name of the game today. Have you guys experienced this?
No.
I have not.
Have you?
Yes, I have.
Oh, do you want to tell us about it? Or you're running the show this week. What are we doing?
Okay.
How are we doing
Well,
this?
I can explain to you a little bit about some sleep paralysis,
Yes.
and we can kind of get into it, and I can tell you my experience from it, because mine isn't textbook as we're going to go over.
All right.
Okay.
Because I'm pretty sure I'm not the only one that has had.
It seems like it's actually a very common
It sounds
thing.
very common.
Yeah.
In 8% of the population,
How much?
8%.
Oh.
I'm thinking that's worldwide. I think,
Yeah.
think just in America alone, I think about 40%
Wow.
of Americans have
Okay.
experienced sleep paralysis,
And
I believe.
I want to say that's probably due to one of the causes, they say, is one of the reasons why is they say that some antidepressant or anxiety medication can increase
I could see that. Yeah, I could see that.
And there's a lot of people on that here in America.
Okay.
So
is true.
if that is a correlating cause, I could see that being something. But I mean,
Well, I mean, one of
in
the
a
causes
textbook,
we can
in a
get into
textbook.
that. One of the causes is mental illness.
Oh, really?
So yeah.
Well, let's talk about what it is first.
Okay.
All right, so sleep paralysis. The way they have it written down here is when you wake up in the middle of the night and there is a menacing presence that you can first feel and then see when you open your eyes.
In your situation, it's probably me.
Probably.
Standing over the
Just
bed.
breathing
You're
over me.
like, what are you doing here? I'm like, shh, go back to bed. Let it happen.
Some people think it's like a demon, or some people see like people in there. If they can see like shapes of people or whatever. But usually it's when people are either falling asleep or waking up from sleep, and their body is not moving, paralyzed, but they can, like, their eyes are functioning, their brain's functioning, and they're just sitting there, paralyzed and scared.
Can't talk, can't move.
Yeah, can't breathe in some cases.
Okay.
This goes on for sometimes a couple seconds, sometimes a couple minutes. And there's really nothing you can do. You can't, like, will yourself out of it. Your body just has to come out of it.
Yes. Actually, that's been going on for forever. I mean, it goes back centuries, if not thousands of years.
Of documentation, maybe.
Documentation-wise, yeah.
Like the 10th century, I think, is when they first started documenting it.
This
Maybe
goes back
sooner
to
than that.
Canadian Inuits back in Brazil and places in Japan and everything centuries ago. So, yeah, this goes back a long, long time ago. And there's even another term for it. They call it the old hag syndrome.
Oh, yeah, okay.
I know each culture had, like, a different thing. I believe in, was it Brazil or one of the Spanish-speaking countries? They thought it was like some kind of sleep demon that came and got you.
I think that was Brazil, yeah.
If your belly was too full when you went
Yep,
to
that was
bed.
Brazil. Yeah.
It'd walk on your belly.
They say that it does actually happen to more people who sleep on their back.
I'm a back sleeper.
And you haven't had this happen to you yet?
I'm also a very deep sleeper. When I'm out, I'm out.
So yeah, this one has the way the old hag syndrome describes it is it's a terrifying sleep disorder that many people suffer from. Also known as sleep paralysis, sufferers often wake up in the middle of the night unable to move or scream, but able to see, hear, feel, and smell. It is often accompanied by strange smells, frightening sounds, apparitions of shadows or people, and a weight on the chest, making breathing difficult, if not impossible.
When I watch like maybe some paranormal shows, a lot of people talk about it, right? Like when they think their house is haunted and they give these experiences, and a lot of it is, older lady or old hag, is the old hag syndrome, where it just kind of like they wake up and it's like on them, like strangling them or just putting weight on them, and that's why they can't breathe and they can't move. And sometimes the investigators will say, well, that's probably more like sleep paralysis, and some are like, yep, place is haunted. We gotta exercise these demons.
Yeah,
Well, see, a lot of
depending on who
people,
you're
that's what
talking to.
they think they're experiencing is like, they think they see like a demonic entity or something sitting on their chest, holding them down, keeping them from breathing.
Which would scare the shit out of me. I'm not gonna lie. If I woke up like that in the middle of the night.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That would scare the shit out of anybody, to be honest with you.
Until you kind of snap out of it and be like, okay, was that a dream? Was that,
Well,
sleep paralysis?
in a sense, it is a dream.
Yeah, because you're maybe like in between, right? Between waking up and
Well,
dreaming.
yeah.
Yes.
Do you want to cover that or do you want me to?
Yeah, we could talk about that here. So, what they talk about it being a hypnagogic,
Hypnagogic?
and hypnopompic hallucinations.
And that's the only time we're going to say those words.
Yeah, I hate
Because
those
we're
words.
probably not saying them right.
So there, one is the falling asleep, which is the hypnagogic, and then the waking up is the hypnopompic. So when these hallucinations are because they're saying like you're dreaming, and as you're either in those two areas, the dreaming's happening while your eyes are open.
So basically what's happening is, so you got your 5 stages of sleep, right? With the
Yeah.
last one being REM sleep.
REM.
Your rapid eye movement
Yes,
or REM sleep.
Correct.
So what's going on there is throughout the night you have, you're going through these 5 different cycles or stages of sleep. And when your brain reaches to stage 5, the REM sleep, it flips a switch. That's when you're dreaming.
Okay.
More or less. And so your brain has like this switch that it flips that it turns off all of your muscles in your body
Got it.
to keep you from acting out your dreams.
Right. Rolling out of the bed or something.
Right.
Sure.
So within the first hour and a half of you being asleep is when you'll most likely experience your first REM cycle.
Okay.
And you'll do this a couple times throughout the night. And they get longer and longer each time. The deeper you are asleep, the longer they get. So
What cycle is it where you're like falling off a cliff?
I don't know.
You ever get that right when you're about to
yes.
fall asleep and you're like falling?
Ah, shit! You freak out a few
Yeah.
times. That's happened to me a few times.
I would get that almost daily sometimes.
I've had that happen before too. It's just like that. You're just like you sit there and you wake up and you're like, oh shit.
Like that was a close one, guys. Almost died that time.
But yeah, so when you're in your REM cycles get longer and longer.
Yeah.
And because the REM cycle is usually longer towards the morning because that's the end of your sleep.
Okay.
It happens more in the morning, but like Ghosty said, it can happen when you're falling asleep too.
Yeah.
And so your brain has like these 2 switches. The one, like I said, that turns on and off your REM sleep, and when you're on REM sleep and it turns that switch on, it paralyzes your body more or less.
That makes sense. Yeah.
Shuts all of your muscles down and keeps you from acting out your dreams. You have the other switch that is awake and asleep. So what happens sometimes is that switch, you're in your REM cycle, right? Mm-hmm. And before it turns off, your wake switch turns on. So now you're awake while you're in the middle of that REM cycle.
Okay.
And so you're basically dreaming, but you're awake at the same time. So
Yeah.
because your body still has that switch on, still has all of your muscles turned off, but your brain is like, okay, I'm awake now. Mm-hmm. That's why you're able to see what's going on around you, but you can't move because your body hasn't flipped the switches the correct way.
Okay. Yeah. It makes sense.
And I was hearing from some other people's experiences that they had been telling me about where they were seeing people in their room. Now this makes more sense now.
Yeah, so because you're in that dream state, you're going to hallucinate. You're going to see things like the demons or the ghosts or people in your room, and people have also
It's always something scary whenever they see it.
They see like alien abductions. So
Yeah.
there's a part of your brain that's associated with that when you're in that sleep that controls basically your fear emotions. And so when this is occurring, that part of your brain is going to have a heightened sense of fear while it's going on. So that's why you're going to feel all that anger or that anxiety and that fear and whatnot. And because you're basically hallucinating at the same time, you're seeing these things, that sense of fear is heightened. And it's just a combination of things that's kicking in. Like so the emotions, the fear is real because that's the part of your brain that's most active during this time.
Yeah, I can. That makes sense, except in my case.
Okay.
So, for me, when this happened, and it happened on 2 occasions, and even from what I read up on, when it's people that have experienced it, it usually says it's only happened like once or twice, and it was accurate on that. But anyways, for me, it was the part where I was on my way to go to sleep, and except I wasn't like I was still fully moving and everything at the time. I wasn't like laying in bed and trying to sleep when it happened. It was the first time it happened, I remember turning off my TV, putting down my remote, and kind of rolling over onto my side, and where my VCR casted a light in my room.
What's that?
The VCR, the big old. Anyways,
Video cassette recorder.
Okay.
anyways, the big old clock display on that thing would
Was it flashing midnight because you could never figure out how to change
because
it?
because f those things. So, anyways, actually, I think I had the clock set right. Anyways,
Things kids will never understand these days.
Yeah.
it was casting that green glow off in my
Yeah.
room, and as I'm kind of like roll over facing the wall, I noticed it kind of like got a little darker in my room. I'm like, what? And then I rolled onto my back, and then I noticed all of a sudden like it got dark, and then that's when it kind of seemed like there was a shadowed person or something standing next to my bed, and that's when it kind of like hit me, and all of a sudden like I like froze, and then I couldn't breathe, couldn't move, couldn't talk, couldn't do anything. And I was just like frozen solid, scared, like the most scared feeling I've ever had in my life. And trying to like yell, like finally like a squeak came out. And as soon as I was able to like make a little squeak, I was able to catch my breath. And then it like got light again in my room.
Okay.
And I didn't want to scream anymore because I'm like, hey, if I wake up my parents, I would just seem kind of crazy now.
So what time was it, you think?
It was probably like maybe 11 o'clock at night.
And like you were tired, like you were just like, or like, okay, this is about.
I think it was like
I'm
my
kinda tired.
bedtime, and I was thinking I better go to bed now because I have school in the morning.
Okay, all right. Try and get an idea.
Yeah, so I'm just turning off my TV. Now, yeah, I wasn't tired, like I wasn't sleepy yet, and I wasn't like, in that comfortable state of, okay, now I'm going to sleep. No, I was actually moving still. So that first time, that happened.
Okay.
And then the second time it happened, it was probably within the same year, if not the next year. And kind of the same scenario where I'm in bed, about to go to bed.
Okay.
And I know I turned the TV off, and same thing, like I put the remote down. And then I went to go grab the sheets and pull them up to like get comfortable. And when I looked down, it almost looked like a shadow of a black cat on my chest. And it was like, as soon as I saw it, that same thing came over me and frozen stiff. And couldn't move, couldn't breathe. Same thing. And the moment, this time I don't know, it seemed a little different in my head with how to react to it. But I was trying to do the same thing, just trying to scream to make a squeak and then catch my breath, and it worked. And then as soon as that did, that shadowed area wasn't shadowed anymore.
Okay.
And just kind of freaked me
Like
out for a while.
how dark was your room?
So it was lit up with that VCR glow.
Okay. All right.
So light
a
enough
green
to where,
hue.
yeah, so you can see what you're doing with the lights off
Okay.
because of that. Green is light enough to see.
If you ever had a VCR in your room at one point in time, even those old alarm clocks, those things lit up your entire room.
Yes.
Like you could have the lights off, but that little clock, you'd see everything in your room.
It's
yeah,
so true.
you know where everything is on your dresser. You can see.
It's like having a nightlight.
Yeah.
So
Did you feel the weight of it though? Or you just saw it
it did feel heavy on my chest.
internally or externally? I know you were probably so long ago. So
It was very long ago. It was over 20 years ago for sure. But this was, I want to say that the weight just, I don't know if maybe because I saw it and I couldn't catch my breath, if that's why it felt like
Like
it was
shock.
not shock, but
Okay.
it was more of just a fear.
Okay.
And then not being able to breathe and seeing that maybe just correlates in your head with pressure or something.
Yeah. Okay.
But what was weird for me was that I wasn't in a sleep state yet or ready to
Yeah.
even be close to sleeping yet. So it was weird in my case, but very similar to what
Sleep
these.
paralysis.
Yeah,
Because if it was like something paranormal, you would think you'd still be able to just breathe. But again, you might be in fear or shock and just be like, maybe hold your breath. But the fact that you can't breathe at all makes you wonder, okay, is this sleep paralysis then, or is this something paranormal?
yeah, because in that time the word sleep paralysis wasn't even a thing yet,
Right.
and I had heard of these things happening to people, but not knowing what it's called or anything like that. And then it happened to me, and it was just, yeah, it was weird, so weird. Didn't know what to call it, and then when I started hearing about sleep paralysis and all this stuff, mine didn't match up with it, but it was very similar. So I was like, I guess this is sleep paralysis, but kind of, I guess.
Yeah, kind of. It's hard to tell. Is it sleep paralysis? Is it paranormal? Is it
Yeah.
a ghost cat sleeping on you?
Well, that was another thing in that house growing up, was that I was experiencing a lot of paranormal things where no one else was. And it was all during that same time frame too.
Okay.
So, or actually, maybe no. You know what? When those happened, those were after I had kind of shut things off.
The sleep paralysis type thing?
Yeah, when the sleep
Okay.
paralysis happened, that happened. Yeah, I want to say that happened after I shut things off.
So when it happened, you were like, not again.
Yeah, I think so. But then not much was happening after that, I
Okay.
think. But just those situations had happened. But yeah, it was kind of
Interesting.
a strange phenomenon that happened that I couldn't explain, and still is a little different than what is explained.
And this is just the 2 times.
Yeah, it just happened 2 times. Hasn't happened since.
And you've never had sleep paralysis.
No, and I'm a deep sleeper. Like I actually have sleep apnea. So when I'm out, I'm just out and loud.
Yeah, I'm the same way. I actually have the big mask that I have to put on my face to sleep.
Yeah,
But I'm a side sleeper, so I've never experienced
okay.
that. Because like I have had, like, before I was officially diagnosed with sleep apnea, there was times, and it was freaking me out. It wasn't like sleep paralysis or anything paranormal. I think it was just my body trying to figure out a way to breathe. But
Yes.
I would go to bed laying down like a normal person, and I would wake up and I'd be sitting like cross-legged on my bed, or I'd have my legs over the edge of the bed, sitting upright in my bed. I
Oh, really?
somehow found a way to sleep sitting up. And
It's almost- it's like
as soon as I got my CPAP, that all went away.
It's almost like you were getting ready to sleepwalk or something. Then you were just too tired to get up.
Pretty much. That's what
You
it
got up
seemed
like,
like.
I'm going to go walk into the kitchen. No,
Well, there
I'm
were
tired.
sometimes too,
Kinda
like
comfy.
well, there's sometimes too where I woke up and I would be completely turned around facing my headboard, like sitting
Oh,
cross-legged on my
yeah.
bed facing my headboard. And I'll tell you, it's not the same as sleep paralysis, but it did scare the shit out of me.
Yeah.
I couldn't figure out what was going on.
Sleepwalking almost.
I
like
bet
you're saying.
you either slept walk or an alien abducted you and just
Yeah.
dropped you off.
It's like, go back to bed this way. But so from everything I was reading and seeing on videos and stuff like that, sleep paralysis that's why I find it interesting. I think your case, I want to say it's more paranormal than just plain sleep paralysis. And the reason why I say that is because 53% of the people that experience sleep paralysis is genetic.
Oh,
So
wow.
the fact that you guys are brothers and you've experienced it just twice and you've never experienced
I
it.
wন্য if our parents have ever experienced it. I doubt it.
No, we would have heard it. We would have heard
I
about
do.
it.
think so.
The other part of that is stuff. I don't know where I was going. I lost my train of thought. Oh no, it's more common. So you don't have it. It's usually it happens a lot throughout your life, not just like once or twice. So like actual sleep paralysis it's like a frequent thing. It happens continually, like mainly in your adult life. So it usually starts around age 10 and goes. It's more common, I guess, between people that are 10 and 25 years old, but happens more in the adult life. But it seems like, from what I was understanding, that it's something that happens more often than just once or twice. Actual
Some
sleep
people,
paralysis. And
some
it's,
people that I've talked to does happen to them frequently.
yeah, if it happens frequently, it's more likely actual sleep paralysis. Where your case, and I don't know for sure if it was actual paranormal or not, but just some of the things that I've learned about sleep paralysis, I lean more towards paranormal in your case, simply because, like I said, it's genetic, and if you're the only one in your family that's experiencing it, or had experienced it, and you've only did it once or twice, you're not continually doing it. I'm going to lean more towards maybe paranormal.
Yeah, I could see that.
So, Ghosty, didn't you have an experience one time where you kind of felt like hands on your chest or neck or something?
Oh, yeah, I want to say it was it was like a dream or something.
Which could be sleep paralysis. Tell this story.
Oh, yeah, this was like a dream where I was being held down and then waking up and having like handprints on my chest. And I don't know if maybe I was doing that, trying like in my dream state, doing something, but then waking up and like kind of in a nightmare, like kind of, oh shit. And then I remember turning on my light and I think I was going to go to the bathroom or something. And I saw like handprints on my chest. And that kind of freaked me out. But I wasn't sure if I was doing that or if I woke up and something was doing that to me.
Do you remember what it was? Do you remember like something jump on you? Because it almost sounds like that old hag syndrome.
I want to say it was like a not a demon, but like a
Old hag.
kind of like an old hag, kind of holding you down.
Yeah.
And like in my face. God, it was so long ago. I almost forgot about
It was
that.
you, wasn't it?
No, it wasn't me. It's one of my girlfriends.
Go mess with Ghosty. You called him Ghosty back then too, even though we came up with the name on this show.
But
Go get Ghosty.
But yeah, that happened. I want to say that happened when I was younger, around maybe when things first started happening.
Interesting. Yeah, I kind of remember that. Especially when you said earlier in this episode about the old hag syndrome, I'm like, wait, I remember you had a story about that.
Yeah, I almost forgot about that.
That's why I'm here. For the memories.
For the memories. But they do have.
Remember all that scary shit that happened to you as a kid? I'm here to fill you in on that.
So Beaker, so you have sleep apnea like me. Did you ever like wake before you had like your CPAP machine? Did you ever wake up like just not breathing?
Yeah.
Me too.
Oh, a bunch of times.
That was before I knew it was a thing of sleep apnea. I just was like, what just happened?
I actually had people tell me. Well, there's been times where I'd wake up and I'd be gasping for air.
Yes.
What really got me to go and get my CPAP and all that and get the sleep study done is
You died.
I died. No. When I was with Peaches in California, we went to Disneyland. She went out to smoke.
Okay.
Because you couldn't sleep.
She had to self-medicate. She came back in, and I had fallen asleep, and she said she watched me for about a minute or two just not breathing. And she finally woke me up, and that was one of the cases where I just gasped for air. And just seeing the scared look on her face, I'm like, I better get this taken care of.
Yeah. For me, it was my getting married and moving in with my wife, and she couldn't sleep in the bed with me. She's like, I can't sleep with you. Like, you snore so loud. And actually, I had friends that had told me that I snored a lot. Like, maybe I should get tested if I have the sleep apnea. Because I started reading what side effects could happen to you in the long run of, like, heart disease and other things like that. I'm like, well, this doesn't sound good. So let me go get a sleep test done. And I did it at home. Did you do yours at home?
Yeah.
Did it at home. I drop it off at the doctor's office. They call me in for a consultation. They're like, yeah, so you pretty much die every night.
They just
I stopped
emailed
breathing
me.
so many times.
So mine was like something like 1,700 times throughout the 7 hours I was asleep.
Okay, all
so
right, wow.
I did the math, and it was basically like every 60 seconds, so every minute, I stopped breathing twice.
Okay, that's pretty close to mine. I think mine was every 30 seconds, something like that. So that sounds
I
pretty
was
similar.
diagnosed with severe sleep apnea. Well,
So
I
we're
think it's
dying
funny.
every night.
Pretty much. So what I think is funny is that you and I have never experienced sleep paralysis.
Right.
But one of the common factors one of the common things that can cause someone to have sleep paralysis is sleep apnea.
But I bet it's because they don't have a CPAP, I bet.
Probably. Well, I
'Cause that
didn't have
helps
one
you.
until like about a year and a half ago. So
Yeah.
I did have cases where I knew like in my dreams, have you ever had this in your dreams where like you're trying to talk or yell or say something in your
Yes,
dreams,
in the
but you
dream, right?
can't?
Yes. Yeah.
So, I mean, that's sort of similar to what you were experiencing when you were actually experiencing sleep paralysis because
And I think Ghosty does have sleep apnea. He just won't get tested. But I think he's
I
got
probably do. I bet I do.
well, that's because Americans are fat. And I'm pretty sure everyone has sleep apnea. But again, another thing that causes sleep paralysis is mental disorders.
Well, here's a whole list of things. I'll tell you. Stress or anxiety, that's the top one. Then sleep deprivation is one.
I can see that.
Narcolepsy, PTSD, jet lag, heartburn, and alcohol.
Yeah, they say to
Yeah.
avoid alcohol and caffeine, and then also eating before bed. And this is where the Brazilian demon thing comes in, looking for people with full bellies, because it's common with people that eat before bed as well. But then again, it's also more common for people that sleep on their back. Like I've always been a side sleeper, so which is probably
Oh,
why I've
interesting.
never experienced it myself. I bet you if I slept on my back, I probably would have at some point in time.
Yeah, I always sleep on my back. Never, but I'm out. Even with
You're the
my
anomaly.
sleep apnea, where I'm dying every night. Like I just don't. I just rarely wake up. But just a few times I'd wake up, just gasping for air, not knowing why. I didn't know. I didn't know what sleep apnea exactly was. And hindsight now that I know, it was just because I just stopped breathing. And
I don't know if I sleep on my side, I don't snore so much.
yeah, it's the weight of your chest,
Yep.
smothering yourself.
Yep.
Well,
Killing
that's another
myself.
thing. Like, so when you're experiencing sleep apnea or sleep paralysis, sorry, for people that are laying on their backs, like when you're still in that sleep state but you're awake,
Yeah.
I believe when you're sleeping, you don't breathe obviously the same as you would when you're awake. So when you're sleeping and you're on your back, you have that kind of pushing down on you, and your body's like you're going to be short of breath because you're not breathing how you think you should be breathing when you're awake because your body's
Okay.
technically still asleep.
Yeah.
So that's why some people feel that pressure on their chest and they're short of breath is because their body isn't breathing like awake breathing. It's still sleep breathing, if that makes sense.
All right. It's interesting how you brought up, like, when in that REM stage where your body kind of shuts down. But if you were having a dream that fell or whatever, you would just jump right out, from
Yeah.
that. Just kicking and
Oh, yeah, they're-
flailing.
Yeah. I usually like kick, like jolt.
I remember having a dream. I think I drove off a cliff or something like that, and yeah, just it was like a big jump. Like I jumped up, woke myself up, and like whoa.
Have you ever been in a fight in your dream and can't like throw a punch? Like your punches are just so slow.
I don't remember.
I've had it where I haven't been able to like walk in my dreams.
Oh,
Like I've been trying to run or walk or something and I can't. Like I'm just like stuck.
really? wonder if
I
that's-
had a dream. So I was at an old girlfriend's house, and I had a dream. I was getting into a big rumble. Like me and a group of guys were on a hill, and there was another group of guys on another hill, and we were like running towards each other down the hill. We were gonna clash at the bottom. People had trucks, and people were just running, and we were about to meet, and I must have been like fussing around in my, kind of in the bed, and then my ex girlfriend kind of was waking me up because I was moving so much, and I jumped up cocked, just ready to just blast her in the face, and I just saw her face with like a fear of like, oh my gosh, shouldn't have woke him up, and I just cocked back, and I just kind of snapped out of it and went back to bed. It was a weird time in my life at that point as well, though, I gotta say.
That's fascinating.
I've had multiple dreams of being in a like one-on-one fight and swinging my punches, and they're just slow motion. And I'm just like, come on, hit him already. And I've seen like memes and things of that talking about
Okay.
that same thing.
Yeah, I've heard of that.
It's so weird. I don't know why, but I've had that a lot where
I wonder if it's like because when, like I said earlier, when you're in your REM sleep, it shuts down your muscles and all that. I wonder if it's possible for that like switch in your brain to get like halfway, like stuck between on and off. So your body is actually trying to act out those things in your dream, but you can't because you're asleep. Does that make sense? Like it's just a hypothesis on my part here, but it kind of makes you wonder if like your body's actually physically trying to do that, but that's why you can't do it in your dream because your body's physically trying to do it, but it can't because it's
paralyzed,
kind of shut off.
Could be, and it's trying to connect those two things together. And you're like, come on.
I had another dream. I was like in a sunny place, California or Florida. I was in a gas station. I was paying. Somebody was in the back of the gas station stealing something. They were running towards the front. The cashier said, stop them or stop or whatever. And I was facing the cashier, and I kind of like in my peripheral, I could see the person running towards us to run out the door. And I...
Roundhouse.
No, it was a punch. I like turned around, surprisingly, blasted the guy. It was like a point where he like, I threw it hard. I connected in his mouth, and he like kind of flew backwards, like lost his footing, landed on the ground. And I woke up because my hand hurt like hell. And I woke up with pain in my hand. I don't know if I punched the wall or what, but I blasted the guy in the dream. But then I woke up because my hand really hurt, and it hurt even like when I went back to sleep. Woke up, my hand still hurt, but I would assume I punched the wall or something. But I thought that was kind of interesting that if I did punch the wall, that I did that while I was sleeping though. Just plow.
I know I've done something where I've freaked out, jolted, maybe fallen in my sleep or something, and I slapped my headboard or slapped the wall, and that woke me up. You know, I guess waking up and then doing that. And going, shit. My knuckles are all sore. No, I've done that. Maybe you could have done something like that.
I think I punched the wall.
Yeah.
But I just think it was interesting. I had a very violent time in my early 20s, I will admit it.
It was all the drugs.
All the fighting. I was a cage fighter. Just kidding. I was not.
I don't dream that much anymore now, though.
I bet you do. You just don't remember them.
No, I'm just in a deeper REM.
Well, that's when you
do you not dream? Yeah, that's when you probably dream, right?
Well, if you're too deep into sleep, you don't dream.
The depth of hell you can't return from, or what?
It's just, I don't know, but I don't sleep that many hours either. So I think when I'm down in there sleeping as deep as I am, I think I'm pretty good for like 4 hours. And I'm like,
Well, I think your brain
that's like 8 normal sleeping hours.
I think a lot of the times your brain's able to kind of realize that it's just a dream and
lucid dreaming.
Yeah, a lot of times it's just like, this shit's not important, so it just discards it.
I know someone that had a dream that they died, and they really died.
Every time that happened,
Every time. No, what do you think he's... Because give me
How would you know this?
I don't. So I'm making this up. Because there's that theory, right? That if you die in your sleep, you die in real life, right? You've heard of this.
Yeah, I've heard of that.
But how do you know, right? Yeah.
Like,
There's no exactly. There's no way to prove
somebody
that.
who died in their sleep. Oh, they probably dreamt of dying.
Yeah.
So it's like saying I woke up dead. Like,
yeah. So I died last night, and I died in real life. But I'm back now.
I think I've died in dreams before. I'm clearly still here.
Have I died in dreams? Want to hear
I
another?
might have. I don't know.
Want to hear another violent dream I had?
Oh, jeez.
I thought it was a fun dream. I thought.
I like that we went from sleep paralysis to violent dreams brought to you by DVO.
So I had this dream. I can't remember what this person did. I think they pulled a gun on me or something like that, and
He's a violent person.
What's wrong with you?
Or they did something to a friend of mine, and I grabbed them, and instead of like beating them up or something, I was
kissed
just
them.
I was just picking them up and slamming them on the ground over and over again, just grabbing them by their shirt collar and their waist of their pants, just picking them up and slamming them down over and over again.
You had a lot of issues in your youth.
In my early 20s, yes.
You know what I dreamt a lot about as a kid? Flying.
Care Bears.
Who did
Flying. I was flying all the time.
He dreamed about flying. He dreamt
He's over
about
here.
beating people up.
People that deserved it, but I mentioned, I'm a superhero basically in my dreams.
I want to be cage fighter over here. It's like, I was dreaming about UFC fighting before it was a thing. This guy.
I was just blasting off in the sky. That's how I was rolling.
I did too, as Peter Pan. Don't forget.
I'm seriously questioning my friendship with you right now.
That's some pretty interesting dreams that I remember.
Dude, the one I can remember, it was like a reoccurring dream that I had all the time when I was a kid.
Okay.
Weird as shit. You know the hamburger helper hand?
Oh yeah, we talked about this on that episode with Pastor Dane. That episode.
Yeah, the hamburger helper
Yeah.
hand, like trying to eat me.
Yes.
And then I'd be like, this is one of the times, like, some of them I'd be like trying to run up my driveway. And like, I couldn't. And it was like, the driveway would get like super slick and make me like slide back down towards it. Weirdest fucking dream ever.
So the hamburger helper, the
scary.
hamburger helper icon, was it like cartoony in your dream, or was it like more real looking?
So it was like cartoony. But it was like clear. It was like see-through.
Okay. Oh, that's interesting. Like
But
a
then there
ghost
was like,
hand.
sometimes there was like a hatch in the back that I could get out.
Like
It
a
was
ghost hand?
Weird. Yeah, kind of.
Did you know if you like sit on your hand and let it fall asleep?
Have you ever gave yourself a ghost hand?
Call it the stranger.
All right. I've heard in dreams you're not supposed to be able to see faces or numbers. Have you heard of this? Or read?
So it
some
can't.
faces.
Your mind can't create faces out of nothing. It's only faces that you've seen in real life.
I disagree with that, but
No, that's what they've. That's
no,
just
but
science.
again, it's another thing of like, how do you know? Because like people randomly will just draw, like a cartoonist, for example. They create a character and an image in their head, right? Then they just put it to paper or whatever they do. That I don't see why you can do that in your dream as well. Create something in your dream.
So I had dreams where I've seen people and I don't know who the heck they are.
Yeah, all the time.
I mean, it could have been things you saw them in an elevator. You just saw them once, and right. This is what the people are saying.
After reading that, there's times where I've passed people, just look at their face in passing, going, "I wonder if I'm going to dream about them." Like,
I hope I do.
I'd start walking past people and be like, "You're gonna dream about me later."
you should be like,
See what they say.
yeah. They say that your mind can't create faces out of nothing. It has to be a face you've already seen.
Which I disagree with, but I get what they're saying.
Otherwise,
disagree
it's a blank face. If you're seeing blank faces, it's just because your mind's not worried about putting a face on that character in your dream. Or the faces that you do see have to, or are based off of people's faces that you've seen, just your mental pictures being taken every time you see someone's face. So that's why, I don't know, I just think that, like, I might dream about them later.
So you can't make out faces and stuff like that. But so when you're experiencing sleep paralysis, you're seeing demons that aren't there.
Yeah, there's
lot of them are
You're
faceless.
creating.
yeah, they're like shapes or
Silhouettes, maybe.
yeah.
That would make sense.
But I've seen, like, in my dreams, I've seen words, like I've seen numbers, and they say you're not supposed to. They say you're not supposed to see that in dreams. You're not supposed to be able to see numbers or words or letters.
I don't know about all that.
Me too, because I've seen them.
Yeah.
I remember like a dream one time I was in a hotel or apartment. I'd see the number of the hotel or apartment, and I woke up thinking, I'm not supposed to see that. I've been told. Guess what?
I've never heard that, and I don't know that I've ever seen numbers in my dreams.
Yeah, I've seen words. I've also seen, like, I can't remember, maybe a piece of paper or a plaque in a dream. But it also looked very fuzzy. Like, I know I was looking at it, but it was very fuzzy. I couldn't read it. But there's also been times where I read things in my dreams.
Oh, I don't read. That's probably why I didn't see anything like
Like,
that.
I don't know how to read.
Words. They're scary.
Now, Ghosty, you said that you've talked to people that have given you examples of sleep paralysis.
Yes.
Do you remember any of those?
Like I had mentioned earlier, where it seemed like there were a room full of people who were negative, like it just seemed like a really negative environment.
So
and it was scary.
So your friend was telling you a story that they kind of they think they woke up.
Yeah, and it seems like it would happen when they were kind of in a negative mindset as well, and then they would experience these sleep paralysis like almost weekly.
Oh.
And when it would happen, I think they said that they would wake up and see these people in her room, and they would, she would experience the whole thing, just not being able to move or breathe and being scared. And I don't remember what would be done to get rid of them, though.
Interesting.
But
Better sleep schedules. not eating or drinking
Yeah,
before
yeah.
bed, especially alcohol or caffeine.
And what was I saw?
Watch
some-
positive things before you go to bed. Watch cartoons.
Yeah, well, have your relaxation steps. Like, give your time. Give
Meditation.
deep
or-
breathing.
Yourself, yeah, before you go to bed.
Deep breathing and yoga are some techniques.
So before I go to bed, I actually like to watch
Don't sleep on your back either.
funny things before I go to bed. Because it just puts me in a good mood, or like my mind shuts down because I'm watching something like stupid or funny. Like I'll watch. Oh, like a good thing, like just random like America's funniest videos.
I'll shop on Amazon until I pass out and let the phone hit my face. I literally shop till I drop my phone on my
on your
face.
face. I've actually done that. And you wake up buying popsicles.
My nose hits
It's $2,600 worth.
Yeah, $100 worth of
SpongeBob.
SpongeBob
What happened to my
popsicles.
volume?
It's this.
Oh, okay. I'm scared. I guess.
No, it's just the
It's
headset.
like, you ruined it.
The mics are still going. It's just
Ruined it
the
all.
shoddy jack we have there.
If you know what happened, one of our jacks on our headphones kind of went out, and so we couldn't hear ourselves talking, and Dale freaked out.
I was
Ghosty
going to lose my shit. No one's going to hear anything.
Anyway, we're making a funny reference.
Even though you can see the wave files on.
We're making a funny reference that Ghosty might buy $2,600 of SpongeBob popsicles because some kid just did that with his mom's phone. Is that right?
Yeah, with their Amazon.
Popsicle, SpongeBob
SpongeBob
popsicles.
popsicles.
That's hilarious.
See, for me, like I've got this feature on my phone that I found about. We actually have this challenge going on at work right now.
Okay.
To get your decent amount of sleep and setting a sleep schedule. So trying to go bed at the same time every night, wake up at the same time every morning.
Routine.
Yeah, getting into a good routine,
Yeah.
getting your 6 to 8 hours of sleep. So I actually have a feature on my phone that I've been using. I've got it set between 1:30 a.m. and 9:30 a.m. And as soon as 1:30 hits, my phone goes into do not disturb mode and it turns everything gray. And that's it's like telling me you need to go to bed now. And that stays off for I set it for 8 hours. So
Yeah.
during that entire time, like my phone is off. And it helps me. It's kind of helping me get into that good sleeping habit. One of the things that will help keep people from having like episodes of sleep paralysis is doing something like that, getting into that
sleep schedule.
getting into that sleep schedule, that routine, and getting your full night's worth of sleep.
Good
I need to
idea.
do something like that.
Yeah, it was just an app on my phone. It was on the clock app on my phone.
I'm sure I could do something like that. I just don't want to.
Yes.
But I didn't. Mine
know
was
you
just
can.
there. I didn't even look into it. It was just like, hey, do this. I'm like, okay.
My boss doesn't require sleep.
Isn't he your boss?
No?
You're your boss.
Maybe.
I wish I was my boss. I wish you were my boss.
I am your boss. Now go to bed. Because that's what your boss would say.
Get those hours of sleep.
Actually, bosses should encourage a good amount of sleep.
They should.
They really should.
That's why we're doing the
And encourage vacations.
yes, apparently more than 20 days a year.
I need more
What is
than
the
20.
average? What is the average?
I don't know. I get like 4.5 weeks.
Yeah, something like that. I can't remember the last time I had a job what they gave us. Maybe been 25. Been a while.
It has been a while. F a job.
Yes. Works for suckers.
That's right.
Yeah, we're just waiting for you, Spotify, to buy this podcast out for $100 million.
So
We're
then I'm
set.
just gonna.
You know we're hurting for money when you start hearing ads on the podcast here. When we start trying to monetize it, you'll hear ads before the beginning of the podcast, and you guys, what is this?
In the
Not
middle,
fans.
in the middle, and then at the end too.
Mid-roll reads.
Oh, jeez. That's a thing. We can turn that on. We probably won't.
I hope we don't.
No, we won't.
No.
We'll just start a Patreon and then lie to you and say it's so we
No,
can
we'll
get
start
better.
an OnlyFans. If we're gonna do anything,
Yes.
we're gonna do an OnlyFans.
Okay. No.
Just don't be scared.
I'm fat. No one wants to see that.
Who said you had to get
Yeah,
naked?
no one said that.
No one said anything about sexual anything. You're
Hey, just
just.
say anything about sexual. Maybe you just want to get hot. It takes your
I don't
cool
know.
down.
I mean, we could take our shirts off.
Yeah, I know. No one wants to see that.
I mean, if they're
I'm not-
paying
look,
for it,
I've already seen
If they're
the-
paying for it, they want to see it. I'll tell you right now.
I've already seen our views on YouTube. Everyone's listening on Spotify. No one's watching on YouTube. Watch on YouTube. You can see how stupid we are.
Probably they'll want to watch it for on OnlyFans.
Maybe.
Yeah, if they put a little skin on it, if they're paying for it, they're gonna watch.
I'm gonna start putting bloopers on the end of the YouTube videos that only the YouTube watchers will see, and they won't be on the Spotify.
We do have some bloopers.
There's one so far. I'm not gonna tell you what episode, but there's so
listen
that way you have to
or
watch them
watch.
all.
Maybe there's one on every episode.
Watch them all,
Maybe there
find
is.
out.
And there's some bloopers. There's gonna be more because Ghosty can't start a show out right.
I don't know what's happening half the time when we start this.
Same here.
I don't know where I am.
You're sleep paralysis.
I think I'm talking to a live studio audience.
I've done the same thing where I'm sitting there like staring at you, waiting for you to start the show, and then you're all looking at me like, "Are you getting started or what?" I'm like, "Oh yeah."
Well, maybe we'll call this an episode for today.
I guess we can. I don't have anything else about sleep paralysis. We got the cure for you. Just get on a sleep schedule.
Yeah, get on a sleep schedule to get some exercise.
No, but I would like to
but
hear.
not at nighttime. Exercise in the morning.
I would like to hear if any of our listeners or viewers have any stories about sleep paralysis. Whether you think it is sleep paralysis, you think it's paranormal,
Especially
or you just want to share it and just kind of say, "All right, I had a freaky ass episode the other night." We'd love to hear about it.
Yes.
I would
can
like to hear
email us.
more about the non-typical kinds too.
Anything you want us to analyze it, give our 2 cents about it. You can email us or evp.pod@gmail.com and then our social media, Instagram and Facebook, evp.pod. Connect with us, send us direct messages there. We'd love to hear from you guys. Just saying. Share
You can
some
also
stories.
comment on the post on Facebook if you want to share it for everybody. You can also comment on the YouTube videos.
Or if we can have you come on and talk, give us your experience too, if you want.
Yeah,
scared.
Why
yeah.
do you sound so seductive? Are you trying to seduce people?
Yes. I want to
That's
seduce them onto the show.
Turn them on to the show.
Your response is, okay, I want to come on, but only on the OnlyFans episode.
I don't even know what OnlyFans is. So
I'll show you when we're done.
You can use my account. Oh man, you know what it is.
I probably do.
Well, everybody, thank you for listening, watching, whatever you did. We're just glad you were here. But Ghosty out.
Peace out, butterflies. You got to say something.
Smile.
This is the EVP Podcast.
Fuck you guys.
Everybody's.
Everybody what? What are you going to say?